Ever wondered why people go on killing sprees?
Are you interested in exploring the paranormal?
Baffled by stories of previous lives?
Well, so are we.
In each episode, we'll be discussing the weird and wonderful stories of some truly confusing phenomenons and some horrific true crime cases.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok and join us every Tuesday wherever you listen to your podcasts.
And be prepared to be totally and utterly perplexed.
G'day, America. It's Tony and Ryan from the Tony and Ryan podcast from Down Under.
Today we want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
These guys are no longer the prepaid wireless company you might remember. They've invested billions into building their own 5G towers across America, transforming the carrier into America's fourth major network alongside the other big dogs.
Yep, they're challenging the competitors by working harder and smarter, like this amazing new network they've literally built.
The Boost Mobile network, together with their roaming partners, covers 99% of the US population, but 5G speed's not available in all areas.
Yep, they have blazing fast internet and plans for all the latest devices. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find them online at boostmobile.com.
This is Paige DeSorbo from Giggly Squad. Opill is a game changer for sexual reproductive health. They're the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Finally, the days of needing a prescription to get birth control are over. Opill is FDA approved, no prescription needed, full prescription strength, estrogen-free, and available online and at most major retailers. So when there's no prescription, no appointment, there's no hassle. No more waiting at the doctor's office to get a prescription. Opill will be easily accessed over the counter, in store, or online, and will be ready for when you need it. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Use code GIGGLY for 25% off your first month of Opill at opill.com.
BetterHelp Online Therapy bought this 30-second ad to remind you right now, wherever you are, to unclench your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and out. Feels better, right? That's 15 seconds of self-care. Imagine what you could do with more. Visit BetterHelp.com/randompodcast for 10% off your first month of therapy. No pressure, just help. But for now, just relax.
A Mysterious Return. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
Back in October 1958, the reign of Pope Pius XII had ended. But the Pope's deeds and legacy were eternally tarnished, not by what he did in life, but by the gruesome medical procedures that ravaged his body in death. If you've been following the current papal news, we're here to give you a bit of a Catholic throwback, but a warning, it's a little graphic. Today on Ghost Town, the Pope who exploded. Pius XII, born Eugenio Maria Giuseppe Giovanni Pacelli, was pope from March 2, 1939 until his death on October 9, 1958, when, at the feast of Saint Denis of Paris, he gave a smile, lowered his head, and died. The cause of the pope's death was officially recorded as acute heart failure. Catholics and non-Catholics know that, when a pope dies, there is an elaborate mourning procedure, some of which you may have been reminded of last week following the death of 88-year-old Pope Francis. Similarly to Francis, Pius's body was on display in an open casket at St. Peter's Basilica, after which the Pope would be buried. But one thing Pope Francis didn't request prior to his death, unlike Pius XII, was for his organs to remain unpreserved inside of his corpse, which brings us back to the explosion portion of this episode. A quick rewind. Since 1939, Pope Pius's doctor was a man named Dr. Riccardo Galeazzi Lisi, a Vatican functionary who loved experimenting with medical procedures that included embalming techniques that he genuinely believed would accelerate the late Pope's path to sainthood. According to IFL Science, for centuries the incorruptibility of a holy person's body had been taken to be a sign of God's favor. More simply, the more a sacred person was preserved to look alive-ish, the more magical they were and should probably be canonized. It was a sign of that person's power, their connection to God, their overall sacredness, their holiness. So, Dr. Galeazzi Lisi hoped that his renegade embalming would ensure that his patient would become Saint Pius. But there was a problem. The doctor was a fraud, a fake, kind of an idiot, and had absolutely no idea what he was doing. More after this break. Dr. Riccardo Galeazzi Lisi, the Pope's primary doctor, decided to do something crazy after Pope Pius XII died. He'd embalm him his own way, which is to say a way that in no way is recognizable to any type of justifiable medical procedure. Typically, an embalmer drains all of a body's tissues and removes internal organs before filling the body with a preservation fluid, like an embalming fluid, something that has been practiced in one form or another since the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. But Dr. Riccardo said, nah, let's not do that. Instead, Galeazzi Lisi proceeded to soak the body in many oils before wrapping it in many plastic layers, right in the middle of a classic balmy Italian summer. This quickened decomposition. According to Professor Ken Donaldson at the Anatomy Lab, Surgeons Hall Museums, quote, although it was in line with Pius's wishes to be buried, quote, as God had made him, you may spot the mistake in that the internal organs were not preserved in this approach. Inevitably, autolysis plus putrefaction caused by the gut bacteria were soon generating large amounts of gas inside the body. So the bacteria in the gut and body quickly multiplied and had nowhere to go, bloating poor Pope Pius's corpse. Donaldson goes on to say, quote, over the 4-day course of the viewing and funeral ceremony, the Pope's chest exploded due to a buildup of gas in the chest cavity. Then the nose and fingers fell off, and the body turned a greenish-black color. He added, quote, the smell was so sickening that some guards fainted, and guarding could only be made bearable by changing the guard every 15 minutes. Because of this surprising, horrifying, and disgusting event, Pius's tenure as Pope, a decades-long papacy, is mostly known for its memorably grotesque end.
This is Paige DeSorbo from Giggly Squad. Opill is a game changer for sexual reproductive health. They're the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Finally, the days of needing a prescription to get birth control are over. Opill is FDA approved, no prescription needed, full prescription strength, estrogen-free, and available online and at most major retailers. So when there's no prescription, no appointment, there's no hassle. No more waiting at the doctor's office to get a prescription. Opill will be easily accessed over the counter, in store, or online, and will be ready for when you need it. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Use code GIGGLY for 25% off your first month of Opill at opill.com.
You shouldn't have to wonder how to make Mother's Day special or how to show her the feelings you can't put into words. That's why we created the Amazing Mom Bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com, crafted to show mom just how special she is. After almost 50 years of Mother's Days at 1-800-Flowers.com, we've learned the most beautiful, thoughtful gifts come from the simplest intention. Yours. Give beautifully this Mother's Day with 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Want a workout that actually works? Hydro delivers a full-body workout that hits 86% of your muscles in just 20 minutes. Rowing with Hydro combines strength and cardio, with thousands of workouts led by Olympians in breathtaking locations. No wonder 9 out of 10 members are still active 1 year later. Try Hydro risk-free at hydro.com and use code ROW to save up to $475 off your Hydro Pro rower. That's HYDROW.com, code ROW.